Prof. Madhya Dr. Abdul Manaf bin Bohari and fellow friends. We are from Group 3, The Samurais. Today we'll be presenting our research paper entitled The Impacts of COVID-19 Lockdown on Physical Activity, Eating Behavior and Obesity Among the University Students in Malaysia. First and foremost, I would like to begin with the acknowledgement part of our project paper. We would like to thank our research methodology lecturer, Prof. Madhya Dr. Abdul Manaf bin Bohari, who have helped and guided us throughout completing this project paper. At the same time, we would like to express our gratitude to our group members who have in completing this project paper. It is clear that without them, this paper is impossible. I would like to thank to our parents, family members and friends who have been our pillar of strength and have provided moral support throughout completing this project paper. Last but not least, we would like to thank our beloved respondents from various universities who have spent their valuable time to answer our questionnaires. Then I would like to continue with the abstract of our project paper. This research is aimed to identify the COVID-19 lockdown effects on the physical activity, eating behavior, and obesity among the university students in Malaysia. The instrument that we have used to test the reliability and validity is the SPSS software. The independent variables, which is the physical activity, eating behavior, and obesity, has been impacted by the COVID-19 lockdown among the students in Malaysia. The data collection method that we have used is distributing questionnaires. My name is Sadavani, daughter of Muniswaran, matric number 265688. I am from Bachelor of Human Resource Management course, and today I'll be presenting about the chapter 1, which is Introduction. The first element of chapter 1 is the background of study. Due to the increasing number of COVID-19 cases in our country, the government has announced the movement control order to overcome this issue. According to Stewart 2019, COVID-19 is from a single standard RNA viruses family, and it is also a common type of virus that impacts the mammals, birds, and reptiles. This virus is first identified at Wuhan, and it is spreading through the person-to-person spread, and it is also spreads through the respiratory droplets that is being produced by an infected person when that person sneezes or coughs. Thus, to overcome and handle this problem, it is advised by our government that we should get our vaccines to avoid from getting infected, and it is advised to perform a 14 days quarantine if we encounter any COVID-19 symptoms. There are several impacts of MCO in our lives. According to Chakraborty and Maiti 2020, they have identified that the COVID-19 virus has affected over 2164111 individuals, and more than 146198 individuals have been dead throughout 200 countries around the world. In short, this virus is impacting the health of people, global economic growth, environment, and the social activities of the people. In this study, we hope to highlight and discuss about the impacts of COVID-19 lockdown on the physical activity, eating behavior, and obesity among university students in Malaysia. Let us move on to the next part, which is the problem statement. This paper investigates on how the COVID-19 lockdown is impacting the physical lifestyle, eating habits, and obesity students in Malaysia. It is important for the students to get to know the effects of COVID-19 towards them so that they could take precautionary steps to handle those problems. University students faces changes due to this lockdown because they vary in their geographical backgrounds. This study consists of 3 research questions. The first one is, how does the COVID-19 lockdown have impacted the physical activity among the university students in Malaysia? The second one is, how does the COVID-19 lockdown have impacted the eating behavior among the university students in Malaysia? The last research question is, how does the COVID-19 lockdown have impacted the obesity among the university students in Malaysia? As the research question, this project paper also has 3 research objectives. The first research objective is to investigate how does the COVID-19 lockdown has physical activity among the university students in Malaysia. The second one is to investigate how does the COVID-19 lockdown has impacted the eating behavior among the university students in Malaysia. And the last objective is to investigate how does the COVID-19 lockdown has impacted the obesity among the university students in Malaysia. Now let us continue with the scope of the study. This scope of the study has been guided by the research questions and research objectives has been created for this study. The main focus of the study is to identify how does the COVID-19 lockdown is affecting the physical activity, eating behavior and obesity among the university students in Malaysia. This research is conducted among 538,000 university students, which resulted in 384 samples of local students. This study also will assist the university students to identify how do the COVID-19 lockdown are those factors among the university students. The last part of chapter 1 is the relevance of the study. This study is important for the students because it will help them to identify the changes that they face during this lockdown period as they are staying at their homes and not in their hostels. This study also will create awareness among the students about the changes they had faced during this lockdown period. It also helps the student to make changes in their physical activity and eating habits by doing exercises and eating habits. This study is also beneficial for the university students because they might not be aware of the change that they have faced in terms of their physical lifestyle, eating habits and also obesity.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Nofarisha Rashika, my matric number 267950. I will explain the second chapter of this research. In this research, it consists three variables which are obesity, eating behavior and physical activity. Let's go through one by one. The first variable is obesity. Body mass index (BMI) calculation are the method used to obtain the basic data on obesity. According to AFIAT 2018, obesity can be defined as the situation where a person who has unwanted and excess fat in the body that can adversely affect health. Referring to Sriwaya 2014, men are said to be obese if they have excess fat content more than 25%, while women are said to be obese when excess fat more than 35%. Secondly is eating behavior. The COVID-19 could change the people's eating and dietary patterns, leading to a deterioration of nutritional and health status in form of malnutrition, either undernutrition and overnutrition are likely to increase, affecting the quality of diets. In the childhood obesity article written by Mayo Clinic staff, thus the cause of obesity due to the dietary factors such as often take fast food, meats and also carbonated drinks. There are many mediators that can contribute to the obesity problem, and among which the main mediator is an excessive food intake. Refers to AFIAT 2018, mentioned that the high dietary intake of fat and sugar contains is the higher than the amount that a person needs is also one of the factors of obesity, especially sweet foods. Thirdly is physical activity. As stated by Dr. Zafir Khan 2021, since the pandemic started and even post-COVID-19, every individual lives seemingly with a gadget attached, where there is the because almost of teaching and learning activity post-COVID-19 would require the use of gadget. It is where students more prefer to stay in room, enjoying the variety of social applications like YouTube, WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter or playing games like Mobile Legends throughout their free time at home during lockdown. In this research, a model of the research framework has been constructed to see the relationship between the dependent variable and independent variable. The independent variable which are the eating behavior and physical activity, while the obesity among university students in Malaysia during COVID-19 lockdown as the dependent variable. In this research, there are two development of research hypotheses. Firstly is a relationship between eating behavior and obesity among university students in Malaysia. For this first hypothesis, there are significant relationship between eating behavior and obesity among university students in Malaysia during COVID-19 lockdown. Secondly is the relationship between the physical activity and obesity among university students in Malaysia. For this second hypothesis, there are also significant relationship between physical activity and obesity among university students in Malaysia during COVID-19 lockdown.
Hi, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, my name is Nino Diana Mitin Mama Hassan. My metric number is 262028 and I am from BHRM course. Okay, today I want to talk about chapter 3, which is methodology. Okay, in part research design, we have choose two research design, which is first descriptive and second is hypothesis testing. Okay, for the purpose of descriptive study is to determine and characterize the features of the variables of interest in a circumstance. Okay, and second, for the goal of hypothesis testing research is to find the key factors linked to the variable of interest. Okay, so based on this study, the population of our research is 538,000 students who are undergraduate students in local universities in Malaysia. Okay, for the sample, according to Cressy of Morgan, 1970, our population is 538,000 and refer to this table, we need to have 384 samples of students from local university needed to be collected to represent the whole population. Okay, for the unit analysis, there are 389 respondents with no missing data. In part sample design, every unit in the population has an equal chance of being picked where the simple random sampling was utilized in this study. Okay, simple random sampling also is under probability sampling. Okay, for the data sources part, there are two data sources that the researchers use, which is first, primary data, where information obtained from one of kind or first-hand sources. Okay, the researchers distributes the questionnaire by using one method, which are online survey in Google Form. Okay, questionnaires, surveys, interviews of observation, experiment pictures, diaries, manuscripts, and the other of data gathering methods can all be used to gather first-hand data. Okay, for the secondary data, information that has previously been obtained by another person. Okay, the data collected by the best journal articles to obtain the data. Okay, the collection of scholarly data such as reading results helps to provide valuable information in this research. Okay, in operationalization part, there are 6 sections that the researchers do in Google Form, which are for the section A is about demographic. Okay, section B is about source of funds. Section C is about lifestyles. Section D is about mental health. Section E is about healthy food intake, and last section of which is F is about unhealthy food intake. Okay, in section A, which is demographic, there are 15 questions, which are gender, age, race, job experience, name of universities, current semester, program, level of study, residential during lockdown, weight before lockdown, weight after lockdown, height before lockdown, height after lockdown, BMI before lockdown, and BMI after lockdown. Okay, from this demographic, we take source from song from 2016. Okay, for the section B, which are source of found, there are two questions that researchers state in Google Form, which are first family support and second income, which is per month. Okay, this is the researcher got from source of Cik Wan Jasimia from 2019. Okay, for the section C, which is lifestyles, there are six questionnaire, which is first, study time, sleep duration, physical activity, working hours, smoking habit, and social media use. Okay, this we got three sources, which are first Yanua from 2013, second Nakayama from 2001, third source from Ogi 2018. Okay, for the section D, mental health, there are three only questions, which are the problem, stress, and also happiness. Okay, this we got source from Nakayama in 2001. Okay, for the section E and F, we use Likert scale questionnaire, which are section E is about healthy food intake. There are three questions, which is first, how often do you eat fruits, how often do you eat vegetables, and how often do you consume whole grain products. Okay, for the sections F, which are unhealthy food intake, there are only four questions, which is how often do you consume soft drinks, how often do you eat fast food, how often do you eat chips, and how often do you eat sweets. Okay, from this two section, which is section E and F, we got source from Crawler 2009. Okay, for the part measurement of variable, for the section E and F, which the researcher use Likert scale questionnaire. Okay, for the scale 1, which is never, scale 2 rarely, scale 3 sometimes, scale 4 mostly, and scale 5 always. Okay, for the data collection methods part, the researcher used this primary data collection through questionnaires to blast all the respondents who are from the local universities in Malaysia. Okay, the researcher also used this questionnaire is because they are cheapest, save time, easy to analysis, not too pressure, getting fast result, reliability, and validability. Okay, but there are also some of disadvantage where the respondent give the error data, dishonest answer, and also miss the choice of question. Okay, for the data analysis part, the analysis is effective to determine the percentage and frequency of the impacts of COVID-19 lockdown on physical activities, eating behavior, and obesity among students in local universities in Malaysia. Okay, for the data analysis for reliability analysis part, for the larger Cronbach alpha, that values which are closer to 1 indicate more reliability. For the lowest value of Cronbach alpha to be considered acceptable, dependability is 0.6, and in contrast, there are any number less than 0.6 indicates inadequate dependability. Okay, these are the table of Cronbach alpha value and also their strength of association. Okay, for the data analysis in correlation part, the closer of the alpha coefficient value is near positive 1 or negative 1, the more relevant the independent factors are two dependent variables, and positive if the value is positive, otherwise negative if the value is negative. Okay, this is the table of size of correlation and also their interpretation. Okay, for example, 0.90 to 1.00 or negative 0.90 to negative 1.00. Okay, for this size of correlation, the interpretation is very high positive or negative correlation. Okay, for the part of data analysis regression, okay, the multiple regression analysis provide a method for properly quantifying the degree and type of link between the independent and dependent variables. Okay, the regression coefficient depicts the relative relevance of each independent variable is classified as significant. It is based on a lower value of less than 0.05. Okay, this study used multiple linear regression analysis to look at the impact of lockdown COVID-19 on eating behavior, physical activity and obesity toward university students in local university in Malaysia. Okay, that's all for methodology part. Okay, I will pass for the data analysis part. Okay, thank you.
Hi, my name is Bpmn. My major number is 26247. I'm taking the Bachelor of Business Administration, Logistics and Transportation. This chapter is related to the objective of the research, namely the result of data analysis of survey questionnaire and hypothesis testing. The aim of the study was to see whether COVID-19 can affect physical activity, eating habit, and obesity among university students in Malaysia. In this descriptive analysis, the demographic profile in the studies consists of the gender, age, race, work experience, name of the university, current semester, level of study, residential during lockdown, week before lockdown, week after lockdown, height before lockdown, height after lockdown, BMI before lockdown, BMI after lockdown, family support, income, social media use per day, study time, sleep duration, physical activity, working hours, smoking habit, problem, stress, and happiness. In the normality test, because normal data is the foundation for parametric testing, the normality test is required for statistical tests. The Shapiro-Wilk test, Kolmogorov-Smirnov test, squeeziness, kurtosis, histogram, box plot, P2P plot, Q2Q plot, and mean with primary school are among the most prominent methods available to evaluate the normality of data. The researcher utilized two well-known normality tests to check the data's normality, which are the Kolmogorov-Smirnov test and the Shapiro-Wilk test. We will present the normality of the data in the table 4.2. For example, the researcher get the data of gender in the Kolmogorov-Smirnov test is P equal to 0.468 and the Shapiro-Wilk test is P equal to 0.538. And then H in the Kolmogorov-Smirnov test is P equal to 0.434 and the Shapiro-Wilk test is P equal to 0.525. And the race in the Kolmogorov test Smirnov is P equal to 0.506 and the Shapiro-Wilk test is P equal to 0.392. For others, it have been shown in the table below.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Silvanisina. So my part is about reliability analysis. Based on the table we can see, the reliability analysis is the result so that the value of Cronbach alpha based on standardized item for the demographic variable is 0.599, and for the source of fund is 0.131, and for the lifestyle is minus 0.278, and for the mental health is minus 0.199, and for healthy food is minus 0.542, and for the unhealthy food is 0.772. So it can be conducted that the average of Cronbach alpha based on standardized item is 0.04. So for the next is correlation analysis. In this study, we use person correlation analysis. Person correlation analysis is the correlation statistic that is most widely used to measure the degree of relationship between variables that are linearly related. Person correlation was also used to investigate the relationship between the independent variables like eating behavior, physical activity, and obesity. And for the dependent variable is impact of the lockdown. The person correlation coefficient is R for range for -1 to +1, revealing whether there is a positive or negative correlation between the two. The table presents summary items statistic in inter-item correlation. The summary of this correlation result is a mean of 0.026 and for a minimum of minus 0.496, and for maximum is 0.984 and an average correlation of 1.481 with a maximum or minimum of minus 1.984, a variance of 0.063 for the 32 questions submitted to the respondents. So next is regression analysis. The multiple regression analysis was conducted to test the following hypotheses. The first hypothesis is there a significant impact of the COVID-19 lockdown on physical activity among the students in Malaysia? And the second is there a significant impact of COVID-19 lockdown on eating behavior and obesity among university students in Malaysia? So for the three hypotheses, is there a significant impact of the COVID-19 lockdown on obesity among university students in Malaysia? So for this table, the ANOVA table revealed that the F statistic is 240,099 was large, and the corresponding p-value was very significant, like 0.000. Although lower than the alpha value is 0.05, this shows that the slope of the estimation line of the linear regression model is not equal to 0, which confirms there is a linear relationship between the impact of COVID-19, the impact of COVID-19 lockdown, and the predictor variable like physical activity, eating behavior, and obesity in university students in Malaysia.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Tawfazila Suryani binti Jamaluddin, my metric number 265793. I from Bachelor of Entrepreneurship, so I will discuss Chapter 5, Discussion, Conclusion, and Recommendation.
Before I start, in this chapter discuss about the work of the study conducted based on the result of this analysis in the previous chapter. This is because in this study discuss about the limitations of the study and some suggestion for future study, and finally conclusion will be met. Discussion. Prepared to the objective H1, there is a significant relationship between physical activity in influencing obesity among students during the pandemic period. Based on the study, the results show that the physical activity of some students show an increase in doing physical activity that is often done by students is 2 times a week, which affect the percents. Basically, doing physical activity is one form of activity that can be done at home only by holding light exercise. Only, for example, doing simple and easy exercise, and students can also watch light exercise, event and social sites which can be done at home or anywhere. This is because the main cause of obesity is if a student do not participate or do not care about to healthy, especially weight, then the problem of obesity among students will continue, especially during this pandemic period. The objective of the study is a clear way to analyze the problem of obesity among students who do physical activity and students who do not do physical activity. For H2, the objective, there is a significant relationship between eating behavior causing obesity among university students in Malaysia during the pandemic period. Based on the study, show that the nutrition behavior of students who eat healthy food such as consumption of whole grain product has as much as 10%. The result of the study show that students also consume unhealthy food where students consume soft drink is the highest. The objective of this study was to find out the nutrition of students who consume healthy and unhealthy food. This is because it shows that most of the students are in a normal stage for obesity problem. There are also a handful of students who have obesity problem. In this pandemic situation, the lack of income source is a reason for students to be frugal in spending, especially from nutrition. For H3, there is a relationship affecting obesity among students in Malaysia during the pandemic period. Based on the study show that the problem that affect obesity among students is the lack of physical activity. This is the root cause of the problem that cause student obesity. Plus, during this pandemic period, student only attends class online. Obesity among students is also affected by food intake, although the average food intake is the highest sometimes, but there are also some students who like to eat unhealthy food that cause obesity. From our conclusion from our study during this pandemic period, weight problems can be caused by several factors that contribute to obesity among students. Therefore, various steps need to be taken by adopting a balanced diet and doing regular physical activity. In our study, we found that students who are overweight or obese are caused by unbalanced food intake, that is eating food and beverages that's higher in calories. We also found that students participated less in physical activity. This is one of the problems from the cause to obesity. For research implications, based on the research show that all 3 variables affect the effectiveness of students in maintaining weight, different from age, gender, income, physical problem, food intake, and influence the impact of obesity among students. In this research also show the range to the ideal weight among students is higher compared to the problem of student obesity. This is because the likelihood of students is prone to weight gain coupled with this pandemic. The problem of student obesity should be avoided to maintain the healthy of the body, because this obesity problem, student will face problem in terms of stress in the lesion coupled with surrounding factors. Student also need to participate in doing physical exercise how many times a week. So, and lastly, recommendations for students to prevent obesity is to regularly do physical activity and reduce unhealthy foods such as fast food and drink that cause obesity. However, in this pandemic period, students need to manage time properly, where they need to divide the time will be prepare the daily schedule and regular basics by entering a time schedule to exercise. That's why the problem of obesity can be avoided. Students need to know what's food to avoid and how many calories and needs in a day for the human's body. Therefore, with suggestions like this, student can overcome the problem of obesity properly.